All right, so tell the people what happened, Connor.
Well, okay. I don't think it was Thin Mints.
Huh?
I don't think it was Thin Mints. Earlier that day, I also had cheese enchiladas from Alvarado.
No. We went 82 weeks. Didn't miss a single episode. I had COVID, went down. We still put an episode out.
Yeah.
I wasn't on it. We probably could have done that again this time. But it didn't happen. Why? Why was week 83 missed, Connor?
Well, you know what? I'm going to make an executive decision and decide that it was the enchiladas. I threw up the black throw up with the Thin Mints because I had food poisoning. Definitely did.
You had some food poisoning.
Yeah, I had some food
You're just
poisoning.
vomiting all day.
Yeah, all day.
Yeah.
Anything I put down my throat would come back up. It was bad. It was really bad. And I was sleepy the entire day. My body got sore after a while.
Yeah.
The typical food poisoning kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why we missed it. You can blame the enchiladas.
The enchiladas.
A classic case.
Great. We're going to blame the enchiladas,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen.
Or the Thin Mints. I guess it could be either one, but
Could be anything. It could have been anything. Anyways, what's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host, Connor Elliott. Say hello to the people, Connor.
howdy.
Howdy. Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, you can get this show every week, Monday, 8 a.m., except for last week, thanks for the enchiladas, where me and Connor sit down and we give you the new news concerning the video game industry. We give you 2 topics each, 2 pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. If that's not enough for you, however, you want to see some gamers do some gaming things, well, you can go watch us over at twitch.tv/2pennygames, where we stream live all the time throughout the week, but every Tuesday specifically at 2 p.m. Central Time, we do a little show called Hype. It's me and my good buddy Phil. Hype, H-Y-E-P, Have You Ever Played? In which we showed the other one games they've never played before. For example, last week I finished up Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage for the first time. Check out this Tuesday, tomorrow, 8 a.m. for the After the Hype review of Spyro 2. And then hop over 2 p.m. Central Time, twitch.tv/2pennygames, to go catch us on we should be finishing some Uncharted 4. We should be. I'm hard pressed to think of a reason as to why we would not be able to finish that game.
I mean, what? How many hours is this hype gonna be? 6 hours at the
dude,
least?
not even. Maybe like 3 or 4. Maybe like we'll find something else to do in the meantime. Like because we like to do 6-hour streams over there at Tuesdays. So come watch us do all that. We're gonna finish Phil's first playthrough of Uncharted 4. And speaking of Uncharted, Connor, last week, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't notice, over at youtube.com/2pennygamescast, we put out a review, one movie review, our first movie review for the Uncharted movie. How did we feel about that? We'll go watch it and find out, because, we had some thoughts. We had some thoughts. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. Let's talk about, listen, we've got a policy. We've said it multiple times. We've got a policy here on the show where video games are fun. We love video games. Video games are great, but video games are toys. And they're great toys, which are fantastic, but they're made by people, and we care about the people first. So, the STALKER devs, along with the Metro devs, have come out and spoken out. I'm reading the STALKER devs official statement on the whole Russia invasion of Ukraine situation here. In which they posted on their official Twitter account, as of today, this is from the 24th, as of today, the Russian Federation has officially declared war on Ukraine. Our country woke up with the sounds of explosions and weapons fire, but is ready to defend its freedom and independence, for it remains strong and ready for anything. The future is unknown, but we hope for the best and are ever sure of our armed forces and our belief in Ukraine. We thus address all of our colleagues in the gaming industry, players, bloggers, or anyone who has seen this post in their newsfeed. Share this. Do not stand aside and help those in need. Special aid account to support the armed forces of Ukraine, UA 843-000-000-000-4733-0992708. Transfers are possible from all over the globe. Through pain, death, war, fear, and inhuman cruelty, Ukraine will preserve, as it always does. GSC Game World.
Good number reading and letter reading.
That's hard enough, but I think I missed a 0. Okay, so there's not a lot that we can say about this.
It's been a stressful situation for many people.
For sure.
A country like Russia to invade Ukraine. Obviously, they've always been pretty antagonistic against them. This has been the biggest step, I would think, in recent years. My history is not too fresh on their interactions.
Biggest one, at least in the last, 8, I think. I'm trying to remember the last time this happened, and I don't have it off the top of my head.
All we can do from our position is hope that the war...
This is definitely the most dire situation.
Yes. As at the time of this, there is peace talks that are going to be taking place. Will anything come from them? We don't know yet. Probably we'll know by the time this podcast comes out, but we just hope that it's going to end positively for as many people as possible. I
hate the thoughts and prayers mantra that gets thrown around in tough times and things like this, but it's quite literally like we're just talking about a handful of people who have all this power, and who wants to be the bitch fit, of the group of world leaders, So it's just a matter of just a bunch of people looking around going, yo, what the fuck is going on? Why is this happening?
Yeah.
And
responses being done by countries like ours, by countries like any country in the EU, basically. Let's hope it blows over quick.
Let's hope indeed.
And no developers end up getting hurt or killed.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's hope and not for the purpose of the game coming out. No, I just don't want anything bad to happen to these people who are just trying to work hard and make games and spread joy. So it sucks, but I really do hope for the best. Speaking of continuing to hope for the best, it's a tough transition out of that one, guys. I'll be honest. So the Uncharted movie seems to be a hit. Pulling an article from Deadline by Anthony D'Alessandro. Sony chief Tom Rothman celebrates, quote, new hit movie franchise as Uncharted hits box office milestone. Sony's $106.4 million global box office this weekend for Uncharted was another reminder to a streaming-obsessed entertainment industry that the tried-and-true business model of theatrical features still works, and that there's an audience for them. Sony Pictures Picture Group chairman and CEO Tom Rothman underscored this in a company-wide email Monday following the success of director Ruben Fleischer's Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg movie this past weekend, and extolled staffers for delivering a blockbuster hit. Rather than sell the $120 million production out of financial desperation during the pandemic, Sony believed in the event movie, protected it, and waited for the proper time to release it. The box office results from such actions: Uncharted was supposed to do $30 million over 4 days at the domestic box office. It wound up doing $51 million, sending its current worldwide take to $139 million. Keywords in Rothman's notes below is that he's already declared Uncharted, quote, a new hit movie franchise, end quote, when we spoke to Fleischer. He was hopeful about a sequel. While other studios have been going day and date with their movies or shaving down the theatrical window, Sony continues to protect the 45-day window on big event films such as Spider-Man No Way Home, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and Uncharted, and has grossed a huge $3 billion plus at the global box office since theaters reopened last year from COVID. Uncharted, as Rothman explains, was the first major production shut down entirely by COVID. Fleischer told us on Deadline's Hero Nation podcast that Uncharted from pre-production to post took 2 years. Sony also had more bragging rights as the President's Day weekend box office, as Spider-Man No Way Home ranked third in its 10th weekend of release, making $9 million, and raising its running stateside gross to close to $772 million. Industry estimates believe that Spider-Man No Way Home has a good shot at getting to a final domestic of $800 million. Here's Rothman's memo. Dear colleagues, it is President's Day in America, but we are open in most places around the world today, and we have another global triumph to celebrate. With over $100 million in box office worldwide in just one weekend and a 90% positive audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, Uncharted is a new hit movie franchise for the company. This marks a great victory for every single division of the company, as the film was our first major production entirely shut down by the advent of COVID. Yet, we preserved to complete a picture the audience loves and marketed and distributed it with strategic verve worldwide despite the pandemic. The ensuring impact is proof once again of the unmatched cultural power of real movies. On the heels of Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and Spider-Man No Way Home, Uncharted is yet another blow to the theatrical naysayers and further proof of the efficacy of our model. I want to thank all of our filmmakers, the wonderful cast and crew, and especially our friends at PlayStation Studios and Sony Interactive Entertainment for their support. Nothing like patting yourself on the back. And, of course, I want to thank each and every one of you for your creativity, dedication, and belief. Excelsior, Tom. How you going to drop the Stan Lee quote? Like, what? Anyways.
It's Marvel. Uncharted is Marvel.
We're talking about Uncharted. What?
Yeah.
Because the Spider-Boy's on there?
Yeah, because they included it in the story.
Right. Okay. So, first, congratulations to Uncharted. And all the people who worked hard on it. Congratulations to Tom Holland for being in, two of the biggest movies ever in the last year.
Yeah.
And always great to see big motion picture studios make more money. But no, it is great to see movies come back after the pandemic, as many thought we were going all streaming. The theaters, who knows if they're going to survive, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And clearly they're not going anywhere.
No. Video game movies can be a big hit or a miss financially. Obviously, review-wise, they're notoriously bad. It's very hard to find a good video game movie. In recent years, we've seen better ones, but we also got the new Resident Evil one, which apparently people hated to beyond belief.
It didn't look very good.
Yeah, did not look very good and apparently performed very badly. Now, for the greater implication for video game movies, this is the first big successful one. So it's easy to look at this and say, video game movies are in now. Not necessarily, but
could Uncharted be the video game industry's Iron Man, Connor?
Whoa, maybe not that. It could be the first foray into making relatively good video game movies.
Could be
consistently.
Could be. Sky's the limit from here.
The thing is, though, Uncharted was kind of one of the better products to make into a movie because it's Uncharted.
Yep, already super cinematic. Yep.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard.
The DNA is already there. Just do what they did, and hey, look, you got yourself an okay action film.
Yeah, and so maybe in the future when they try to do games that aren't like that, that are a little bit more story focused, maybe a lot less action packed and Indiana Jonesy. We'll see if this.
I mean, we've said it before, but like I think the Last of Us HBO show is going to be the real. Let's see where this goes type thing, because that's inherently all video games. Like, people can point to The Witcher, but they're also like, but it was also books, and they've only so far adapted only book stories, and not the video game stories. So there's elements of that to kind of discredit The Witcher from being a video game adaptation. We had Mortal Kombat last year, which people were like, that's okay, but it was all on streaming services, so it didn't really make as much money as it probably would have if it was in the theaters.
Yeah, I forgot it was done that way.
We had examples of like Tomb Raider and Ratchet and Clank, which were fine, like not great, but then you bring up examples like Resident Evil has never had a good movie.
Warcraft, which
did
it bomb? I think it bombed.
It was like one of them where like it did well overseas and then bombed here.
Yeah,
so it was just
right.
Overall, it just wasn't like it was considered a disappointment, quote unquote, which is another thing we'll get into here in a minute. But yeah, the big news is Rothman calling this a new franchise.
Yes, because I won't say anything. Yeah, obviously, if there's money to be made here,
oh, they're gonna do it again.
Chase it.
They're gonna come back to this well, and I mean, I said it in the review, but like if you watch the Uncharted movie trailer, what you see is what you get. Yeah. If it looked like an okay kind of generic action film, that's because it's an okay kind of generic action film. But from there, we can build, and hopefully, we've got we know how to work around COVID now, whereas that probably hindered this movie quite a bit. Probably especially where like special effects and things are concerned. So we know how to work around that now. We have, DNA from games and still things we can pull from games, and we can start like actually incorporating more of those character traits that were, maybe sort of missing in the movie adaptation. We can start, pandering to fans a little more. Maybe we can iron out a more solid script, that where the story is a little more coherent and a little more engaging.
Oh, maybe make Mark Wahlberg act more like Sully. Make him play the
That's
video
not
games.
gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
All the other things are reasonable. That's unreasonable.
Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see, how it all pans out. But again, you can catch our full Uncharted movie review, thoughts and opinions, all of that over at youtube.com/2pennygamescast. We didn't hate it.
No, we found it fun.
Yeah, we found it fun.
All across the board, that was our thoughts.
There's also a spoiler talk in the last half of that review.
We let you know in the review, though, so it's not like you'll be caught off guard. Not that I'm guessing there's not many people out there that are really caring about Uncharted spoilers, huh?
I mean, if you saw it and you're like, hey, what did they think about, XYZ moment happening? There. It's there for you to go find out and see what we thought about that. But yeah, cool. I'm interested to see another one. I think I said it in the review. I walked out, I was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind another one of these. I would like it to be a little better. But another one, sure. I would pay movie ticket prices for another one of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, congratulations to those who worked hard to get it to work. And let's hope the next one builds off of that success.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of success, and maybe some people didn't quite have as much as this one did. Square Enix came out and isn't too happy about where Guardians of the Galaxy landed for them. Surprise, surprise, Square Enix didn't like, or a game didn't meet Square Enix's expectations. So Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy undershot our initial expectations, says Square Enix. This is a Eurogamer article by Victoria Kennedy. Square Enix said Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy did not perform as well as it had initially hoped. In the newly released outlines from Square Enix's Q3 financial results briefing, Representative Director Yosuke Matsuda stated the HD game subsegment launched Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy in Q3. Despite strong reviews, the game's sales on launch undershot our initial expectations. However, Matsuda went on to say, quote, sales initiatives that we kicked off in November 2021 and continued into the new year have resulted in sales growth, and we intend to work to continue to expand sales to make up for the title's slow start. There are many factors that may have contributed to this slow start, one being the bitter aftertaste some still have in their mouths following the underwhelming release of Marvel's Avengers. There is also the other elephant in the room. The Star-Lord in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy isn't Chris Pratt, and his crew of misfits are not the same, blah, 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 blah. I don't care about the fucking MCU shit. In addition to these factors, the game also released at a particularly busy time for the industry. October 2021 additionally saw the releases of Far Cry 6, Metroid Dread, and Back 4 Blood. In Eurogamer's review of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Vicky said she felt unsure of what Guardians of the Galaxy wants to be. Quote, I'm not going to read their review because if I'm honest, I felt the same way. Anyways, so Square Enix saying, oh man, it didn't quite meet our expectations. What fucking, other than Far Cry, does any game meet your fucking expectations, Square Enix?
For context, they said the same thing recently, actually, about their mobile game division. They also said the same thing about Neo, The World Ends With You. They said the same thing about Avengers. They're very hard to please, obviously.
I remember them saying the same things about the Tomb Raiders.
Yeah. Now, Avengers, obviously, that did underperform.
Yeah.
But clearly they always have a trend of just saying things underperformed. Whether this is a result of high expectations, greed, because they want more money, and they're like, oh, you didn't make more money than we thought.
It's a way to manipulate stocks and shareholding and all that.
Yeah. Also, if some people were, investors particularly, weren't very happy with how it initially performed, that's like, oh, it underperformed. It's just underperformed. It's fine.
Also, Square Enix, maybe if you put out a good Marvel game, like, let me just throw it out. I know video games are hard, and I don't know anything about making a video game, so let me give them all that credit. But maybe give your developers enough time and resources to really crank out a solid piece of work. Let the artists do their art thing, and maybe you'll see results from that, i.e., anything PlayStation Studios has done in the last 10 years.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty confident on this. But there were some issues with Avengers, for example, before it underperformed, where they were getting involved. Because even though we obviously don't know anything about video games, we do know what it's like to try and do a job and have the people that pay you and watch over you come in and say,
Get in the way.
well, maybe you should do it this way.
Yeah. Avengers is definitely a tale of two
very
games.
One of those things. Yeah.
Very much a tale of two games.
Yeah. It's Square Enix, when it comes to some of their stuff, seems like they just manage it badly. It really
It definitely feels that way from the outside.
Not to mention some games.
I mean, even with their works of their more successful titles like Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, it's like how long were Kingdom Hearts 3, Final Fantasy 15, 7 remake? They were in development hell forever. It's amazing those games even came out, and let alone came out as solid as they did. I know fans are divided about Kingdom Hearts 3, and even Final Fantasy 15 has quite a following of naysayers. But the fact that 7 Remake came out as one of the best games of all time is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Because that game got handed off to 2 or 3 different studios. It changed leaderships a couple of times. Like, it's messy over there. Like, it would almost be like if, like, it didn't make the show, but Dragon Age 4 lost another lead developer this last week. And I would be shocked if any BioWare game in the future comes out and blows my socks off. With their current slate of what's announced with Dragon Age and Mass Effect, but who knows? So, but I'm digressing here. But to bring it back to your point, it feels like management is really dropping the ball over at Square Enix at every turn.
Yeah, because it's happened. This has happened multiple times where they say it's underperformed. At that point, you kind of have to start looking at trends, and we do know that Square Enix has, like you said, with Final Fantasy VII Remake, 15, and their marketing also isn't all that great. Some games you hear that they're coming out, they get an initial like reveal trailer or something like that, and then you never hear anything about
months before it comes out.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy was the last game that actually had a pretty good amount of marketing going into it. Obviously, that I guess in this case wasn't enough to perform better than they expected it to. There's many other games to look to where they obviously were disappointed with that as well. And
Right.
The problem seems to lie with them, and they need to get their shit together rather than seemingly blaming it on the developers. Because they never seem like, oh, we messed up, we made an error, this is why it underperformed. It's always, oh, someone else did something wrong.
Excuse me for yawning. I don't know where that came from. HD Games subsegment launched Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy in Q3. Despite strong reviews, the game sales on launch undershot our initial expectations. So, also, what were your expectations, first of all? And second of all, they're still saying, hey, but the game did review well. So, like, the team did make what we deem to be a quality product, I disagree. But, I don't know. Yeah, I'm walking the fuzzy line of, like, I didn't think Guardians was that good, and it doesn't surprise me that it didn't sell bonkers. Like, what were you expecting? I had more fun with Avengers than I did with Guardians. I finished the Avengers campaign. It wasn't good.
The gameplay's better in Avengers, though. I'll say that.
I think it is. I certainly think it is. And that's what carried me all the way to the end. But, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, Marvel games, it seems like Sony, specifically Insomniac, has now got the keys to the kingdom, and they can do whatever they want. And every other outreach since has not really done that well. Marvel's Avengers kind of did flop. Guardians of the Galaxy, some people enjoyed, but didn't really, do gangbusters. So, and it's not like expectations can be small for these games because they're superheroes in the age of superhero pop culture dominance. So, like, every one of these kind of has to dominate. And I think you're seeing, like, at the end of last year, Spider-Man Miles Morales, which came out the year before, was topping charts. So, like, the Insomniac games are doing gangbusters and are, fucking blowing expectations. Excuse me. Jesus Christ. Blowing expectations out of the water. But on the Square Enix front, it's not working out so well. And then you start looking around and you start asking other questions of, like, okay, how's that, I forget the name of the studio. Fire Axis, the XCOM guys who are doing the Midnight Suns. Go fact check for me real quick. How is that one going to turn out? Where that's just more of a third party thing and you less Sony and or Square Enix focused. I loved XCOM, but we'll see where that one lands.
Fire Axis
is great. And then I mean, the sure bet of Insomniac with Spider-Man 2 and with Wolverine, yeah, sure. But it's all the outside projects where I scratch my head and I go, we'll see. We will see. Moving on to our final story of the day. I have not been listing any of the pennies. You had Stalker and Guardians. I had Uncharted, and now the PlayStation VR2 has been revealed. We get to look at it now. And I'm just pulling an article from The Verge here, but there's really nothing really to say here. But let me go ahead and read off a little bit of this article by Sean Hollister, Mitchell Clark, Sam Bedford, and James Gartenberg. Sony has finally revealed the design of its next-generation PlayStation VR2 headset after it announced it in February 2021, showed off the controllers last March, and confirmed it would be called PlayStation VR2 in January. The new design features a similar white and black color scheme as the PlayStation 5. The company says the two products were designed with each other in mind. That's an important note. And while it features the same broad design as the original PSVR, the new model also brings a few enhancements, including a lens adjustment dial, a new vent design, and a slight reduction in weight. And similar to the PlayStation 5 and its DualSense controller, the PSVR2 has tiny textured PlayStation icons hidden on the front and back bands of the headset. It's been over 5 years since the original PSVR came out, and it's definitely due for an upgrade. While you can use it with the PlayStation 5, you need to use a special adapter, and the experience is decidedly last gen. Sony has also been making other VR moves that were awkward without an updated headset to go with the PS5, like giving out free VR games to PlayStation Plus members. The headset supports haptic feedback, eye tracking, 4K HDR, 90 over 128 frame rates, foveated rendering, and a field of view of 110 degrees, and it connects to the PS5 with a single USB-C cable. The PlayStation VR was the original affordable VR set, requiring neither a beefy gaming PC nor $800 worth of additional gear at $400 to $500. It turned buyers' existing PS4 game consoles into a modestly capable rig back in 2016, and it only got more affordable since then. But it's also worth remembering that the PSVR was part of the very first wave of consumer VR headsets alongside the original Oculus Rift and HTC Vive, both of which have had numerous successors with huge improvements in optical quality, field of view, and general immersion since. With the original PSVR, you can only walk around an extremely tiny space directly in front of your PS4 and interact with virtual worlds with a pair of wands that could emulate grasping and ungrasping at best. A far cry from the juggling you can do with modern controllers or virtual hands with individual fingers you can get with a Valve Index controller today. And then the article continues to just explain why the PSVR, the first one, came in underpowered, and, hopefully this one will continue to work. So, lots of gimmicks, lots of nice little things. I think the controllers look sweet. I like how the controllers look. I like how I think the headset looks sleek as well. I don't think Sony's gonna come in underpowered this time around. I don't think they're gonna be the beefiest thing in the market, just because the PlayStation 5 is not the beefiest thing in the market. But I definitely think they are going to re-enter the conversation of actual competition in the VR space from here. And with all the acquiring that they've been doing of smaller support studios and games like Horizon Call of the Mountain, was that it?
I think it was, yeah.
As a PlayStation VR2 launch title. I'm sure Insomniac's working on something. I'm sure Naughty Dog is working on something. They're gonna bring up all their big studios to support the VR2 this time around. So I think this is where we go. Okay, VR has a definite future. It's had a future for a while.
Yeah,
I was never a big naysayer of VR. I've always been like, well, yeah, sure, it's just not there yet, but it'll get there. And I think it's getting there.
Yeah,
we're almost there. It's definitely like a point where, like, if you discount VR as a whole, you're not paying attention, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a pretty entertaining device from the one time that I got my hands on it. Like, it looks nice, but I think we talked. I asked you this before. Is this the VR jumping point for you?
If I had space for it, yeah.
Space.
My current living situation, I do not have the space for it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that's true.
That's just kind of where I'm at. Where I'm like, I just don't have space for this fucking thing. I mean, I guess I could get one and put it in the living room, but I have to move a coffee table and a couch and fucking rewire everything, and I don't at that point just buy another PlayStation 5. You know, look at me just casually like, let me just buy the hottest piece of tech out there that nobody can get their fucking hands on.
We were able to get our hands on it.
Yeah, after months and months of effort and work. But yeah, I would like to get in on this generation of VR. I skipped the last one because I was like, I don't know if it's there. Is this a fad? Yada yada. Is this the new motion tracking things that we were handling in the Wii generation with the PlayStation Move and the Xbox Kinect, where it was like, nobody likes this. This people do like, and people do like jumping in VR and having these great experiences. And there are several games that are not just experiences; they're actual games that you can go back and play again. And you know, with my limited my limited experience with VR, I've enjoyed it every time. But you know, I've just yet to pull the trigger. And on this, I would really like to pull the trigger, but the circumstances of my living situation are just like, probably not. But you know,
maybe someday.
I'm excited to see what it does. Like just from like, I guess an industry perspective, you could say. I'm just excited to see, does this normalize VR to the everyday user? You know? Yeah,
I'm interested to see the reviews. I want to see if it actually performs well right out the gate. Yeah. Because have there been any VRs that have shit out the gate and then recovered later on? Is it something that's fixable, or is it one of those pieces of hardware that if it comes out and it's not good, you're just dead in the water and you failed?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's new tech. It's hard to decide. You know.
I mean, the first PlayStation VR took the lead in the front and then lost it later down the line as Oculus and HTC Vive put out newer iterations and models and iterated, whereas the PSVR was using outdated hardware from the jump. Like those Move wands are from the PS3 generation, and of course they didn't do well. But you know, it came in affordable. Most people already had a PlayStation 4, you know, and it didn't require this big expensive PC rig. Like it was a good enough like type thing to like test the waters, to get your feet wet. And then from there, the headset collected dust.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to happen this time around. I think Sony's actually serious this time around. But who knows? We might have a PlayStation Vita on our hands.
They played this up. I'd be surprised. It'd be one of those sad situations where they put a lot of effort into marketing it and creating it, obviously, and then it flops. So hopefully their work pays off.
Hopefully. Well, we're going to find out. Now, Connor, that is it for the news segment this week. But
pennies spent.
The pennies have been spent. Yes, sir. So now we're going to get into our coveted what we've been playing segment. However, games are dropping. It's game release season right now.
Oh, I've been having a fun time.
Yeah, we both have. Now, last week we had intended to put out a Horizon Forbidden West review.
Why didn't we?
One of us got food poisoning. And to be quite frank, this and Elden Ring are just big. They're big games, and we don't get early access codes because we're tiny.
Yeah.
And nobody watches us. So instead, we're just on a week delay. So we're gonna review Horizon Forbidden West a week and a half late, but it's what we got. So it's what we've been playing, and then hopefully, both Connor and I will have enough experience and time under our belt for Elden Ring to talk about Elden Ring in a review sort of perspective. But for now, we're going to sign off on the Two Penny Gamescast. Stick around. Don't click off. We're still here. Just like with the Sifu review, we're just going to start straight into the Two Penny Gamescast review of Horizon Forbidden West and give a whole new intro. So let's go ahead and do that right now. What's poppin', players? Welcome back to a Two Penny Gamescast review in progress of Horizon Forbidden West. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host, Connor Elliott. Say hello to the people, Connor.
Hello again.
Connor, as I just said, we've been playing Horizon Forbidden West. Neither of us have beaten the game.
No.
Because we are tiny little internet trolls who, you know, play it at launch with everybody else. I dropped my water bottle cap, and now I'm picking it up with my foot like a monkey.
No, you don't get...
Now I'm a monkey.
And you're going to put it on your bottle, too?
Disgusting. No, I'm going to finish the water, and then I'll put it on.
Oh, okay, very respectable. Never mind that.
Anyways, Connor, we've been playing Horizon Forbidden West. We made it about halfway through this review until I realized I forgot to press record. So now we're starting over.
It's a small red button.
Small red button. Did I do the same thing with the Sifu review? I might have. Speaking of which, you can catch a Sifu review and this review over at youtube.com/2pennygamescast alongside the 2 Penny Gamescast as a whole. That is going up at Monday, 8 a.m. Central Time. You can see reviews for things like Uncharted and Halo and all those great things. But if talking about video games isn't enough, you want us to do gamer stuff and play video games, like playing Horizon Forbidden West with some footage that you're seeing right here, which there should be no real spoilers in this. It should be all early footage game stuff, no real story arc or anything. I think I was playing around in the open world for like an hour. And this is a few hours into the game because it's very narrative focused up front, and then it opens up.
A long goddamn time.
Takes fucking forever. Oh my god. Yeah. There are games smaller than that intro segment. Jesus Christ. Anyways,
but it's all build up.
It's all build up. It's all leading to your journey into the West.
We got to learn mechanics like the zip line and the pullcaster.
Yeah, you do. Anyways, I totally lost my train of thought. Connor, you and I have both played Horizon Zero Dawn. I played it at launch. You played it shortly after launch, dropped it, jumped back in, dropped it again, and then finished it in the last few months.
And none of these are speaking to the it's not about the quality of the game, because I enjoyed every single time I picked it up.
You just fell off and came back and fell off. So, it was the fact you kept coming back probably shows. I liked Horizon Zero Dawn a lot back in the day when it came out. I thought its world design was fantastic. I loved the combat. I loved the feeling of hunting the machines and how each machine felt differently, and you had to kind of figure out its behavior and so forth and all that. I did think the story was eventually got good when it started its dual narrative things, but started out pretty rough. I thought its acting and its writing were pretty lackluster and mediocre. But it wasn't until about halfway through where it really grabbed my attention and I really fell in love with the story of Zero Dawn. And I think pretty much all of that is translating here in Forbidden West 1 for 1. I'm about 12 to 15 hours in. You are literally like one mission behind me.
Yeah, I'm around the same runtime.
Yeah.
About 13.
And in those 12 to 15 hours, I have been desperately looking for a reason to continue playing. I like this game a lot. However, it is so painfully more Horizon Zero Dawn, but just a little better, to the point to where I'm not feeling energized to pick it back up. I'm not excited to jump back into the world. I'm not speaking on the quality of the game here. It's just my own personal level of excitement.
Yeah.
I think the game plays just as great, if not better than the original game. There are a lot of things that they've improved on. Some things could have used more improvement, but overall, like, if you had a critique of the last game, it's been addressed here in some way. Better or worse, we'll get into that in a minute.
Yes.
But overall, I think Horizon Forbidden West is another great game from Guerrilla Studios and from PlayStation Studios as a whole.
Yeah. It's difficult to do this, to make a new game and make it feel different.
Yeah.
But this feels the exact same, which admittedly is a little bit of a drawback, because after so many years in development and hamping it up, you would think it'd feel differently at the very least.
And it's a hard conversation to have, because it is more of what we wanted.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it doesn't do anything more than just more of what we wanted. You know what I mean? So, like, it's tough, man. It's real tough so far I'm very conflicted about this game. I felt the story was just as generic as it was in the beginning, and I've only just hit the moment where the narrative takes a turn and there's a bit of a twist, and now my ears are perked up, and now it has energized me to pick up the controller and play more. But I have Elden Ring now, so I am coming back to Horizon Forbidden West at some point, probably after our Elden Ring review next week. But as of right now, how far is that twist going to take me? Another 5 hours? Another 10 hours? Will it take me to credits? I don't know. In my head, I would like to love this game and to play it all the way through and to platinum it and to feel great about it. But as of right now, like, I enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima more. But that's not fair, because Ghost was giving me a new experience.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is giving me more of an experience I already spent 60 hours in, you know? So, like, why would I want to spend another 60 hours in that same thing? I don't know.
Now, some of the improvements of the game are connected to the combat.
Yeah.
There's new weapons.
Yep.
So far,
all of which I've liked so far.
Yeah, and they've kept the game, so far at least, they've kept most of the weapons from the original game. The Rattler has been replaced for something called the Warrior's Bow, which is a lot better. It's a fast-firing bow that doesn't require you to pull back all the way to get maximum damage out of it. You have the Javelin, which you saw Tavin throwing around earlier, that explodes upon impact.
Love the Javelin.
I love it too.
Javelin's great.
Probably the coolest addition to the weapon roster in this game.
You used the buzzsaw thing yet?
Oh, the cutter. No, I
Yeah,
have the
cutter.
shredder cutter.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
something
have
like
not.
that.
Is it good?
It's all right. I like it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I used it once, so
Oh,
like I
really?
need to play a little more with it, but it was cool.
Okay. They also
Also, the stuff that I'm doing right here, this is an open world activity where you have to like you're shown a picture and you have to match it up with the world and you have to look around and stuff. This is cool. I like this is the cool little environmental
You
puzzle.
almost got it
I
there.
like.
There you go. You're going.
Yeah, I'm figuring. I've pieced it together. I go, I gotta be over there. Okay, great.
But melee combat did see an improvement. So they added combos. They added a system where you can string together light attacks and then go in for a heavy attack. And if you have your spears glowing, you get a point on them. What do they call it? Some kind of...
Well, it stuns them,
It stuns
and
them
then
and gives them a
it
weird-
opens up a point of vulnerability that if you then shoot an arrow at that point, it basically kills them.
Yeah. And, these things make it fresher. I liked the melee combat more than you did. I know in the past game, you only used it
Didn't
out
love
of necessity when it
So-
was necessary.
But real quick, like to feed into that, and what I think is an improvement on this game is the upgrade tree. And while we're here with the footage right here, I'm gonna just pause it. So you have your 6 upgrade trees: your warrior, trapper, hunter, survivor, infiltrator, machine master. All of these, just based off of the names alone, you can probably guess what they each focus on. I have found myself focusing a lot in the hunter and infiltrator categories. I don't know about you. And then I play around with the warrior and the survivor. I know I've gotten a few into Trapper just so that I could put more traps down, because traps and tripwires are counted as the same thing, and you can only put 2 down.
That's a massive downgrade from the system where you could do basically what...
You can just do whatever you want.
You could have a whole playstyle built around traps, but
Yeah.
now you can't.
Yeah, now
They
you kind of
cut it
can't.
off.
And I looked into it. The max is 4. 4? What? I used to like litter the battlefield with tripwire casts, and then I would just run through. And now you can trip your own tripwires, which is kind of annoying. I don't know how I feel about it, but like,
yeah,
it's like a pros and cons thing in my mind, where it's like, I kind of liked it better that way, but like at the same time, it does make things more challenging, and I do have to think about my approach a little more.
Yeah, but at the core of it, you can only place so many down. Massive downgrade in my eyes. I might even get to the point where I don't even use it anymore. Because 2, it's like, okay, you have to get them in it in the first place. You have to make sure that you don't get hit into it.
Yeah.
Also, it seems like it's a lot more stringent with how you place them. Like before, it's like if you put it on solid ground to solid ground, it's there. It's set up. And this one, I sometimes do it on a rock and then on the ground, and then it'll fizzle out.
Yeah,
like,
I think
what the hell?
it's one of those things where the geometry is meeting each other, that there's a break somewhere there.
Yeah.
Because I was struggling with that at first, and then I'm better now than I was.
Yeah, I got used to it. It seems like a weapon that's already been downgraded this much, and then you're just kind of...
It's a thing where
worse.
I only use it in moments where I know the machines are coming to me.
Yeah.
It's not me going to the machines. I'll just stealth attack things.
Yeah.
But then, like, I know the Machine Master. I don't even think I've even looked into that category yet, because I don't care about hypnotizing machines. I'm just gonna kill them all.
I've stuck to the warrior, hunter, and the medicine user. Just the medicine user?
Survivor.
Yeah, survivor. Yeah, just because survivability is something I enjoy. Being tankier.
Gotta get that health up.
Yep. Mhm. Oh yeah.
It's almost mandatory. But yeah. Instead of warrior, I've been playing around in the infiltrator tree more.
Yeah.
Which just makes sense with the 2 of our playstyles.
Yeah, of course.
And then I have found hunter like another mandatory necessary thing that you have to build into, just because that's the one that focuses around your main bow and arrow thing. So you're like, all right, well, if I want cool bow and arrow powers, I gotta use this, including the thing of like notching multiple arrows at once. Like I was like, as soon as I found where that upgrade is, I was like, oh, I'm shooting for that one right now. I'm getting that one back immediately.
You know what? Just because arrows reminded me of it, I hate the way that crafting ammo is done in this game. Because before
It's the exact same.
It doesn't seem the exact same. It seems
the
like
exact
it's
same.
a lot slower. Like it takes a lot longer to build ammo in combat, and in
I
the
don't
first
know.
Horizon game,
Oh.
I didn't feel like I would just hold it down and it would create it fast the same way regardless.
Yeah.
Now I get the intention for it. Like you want that to be a management.
Some of those things are valuable, and you don't want to be making mistakes.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that like in this game and in the last game, doing the crafting never seemed. I always do it in a safe spot. So it seems like it's not even it's just being slow for the sake of being slow. So I'm just like holding down X longer for the sake of holding down X longer. It doesn't bring an extra challenge to it.
To continue that, I'm having that issue, but with the looting. After playing Ghost of Tsushima, where you can just ride through on your horse and just mash the trigger and he'll pick up everything.
Yeah.
Now I'm having to stop. Like, even if it's something that is just a quick pickup and just a quick tap of the triangle button and I'm on my mount, the mount full stops.
Yeah.
So that Aloy can bend down and pick it up and or most of the time you have to hold triangle to open it up for some reason and then just loot everything anyway. I don't know about you. I've never not been in a position, especially now that like when your inventory does max out, it doesn't just stop you like it did in the last game.
Yeah.
It now sends everything to your stash back at the nearest town or whatever. So now it's like, why would I ever not loot everything?
Yeah.
You know,
which is a good thing. That's a good. I think that's a good thing. I don't like how it pigeonholed you.
So why do I have to
inventory.
hold a button to then press another button to do it? Just press the button and give me what I can and send the rest to my stash, and that's it. Like I don't, and it's the animations of like she just went through and picked up some trees and branches and stuff. It's just you're stopping me every moment. It's just a little bit of hindrance, and I think it's because everything is based in animations. I have the same issue with. You just saw it with the little grappling hook. I believe it's called the pole caster, where they use this for environmental puzzles and for traversal and stuff like that to get around and to climb things faster and so forth. I like it on paper. I think it looks cool. The animation is cool, but again, the animations are so stiff and so like you have to go to this one spot, and then when you hit that spot, Aloy has to finish her animation of grabbing onto the rock before you can move or before you can jump off or before you can drop.
Yeah.
They even put it into where like you pull yourself forward and then you press circle to do a quick jump up. But again, Aloy has to finish her animation, sit on the thing, and then even if you pressed it like 3 seconds ago, then she jumps up. And it's like, why couldn't we just have her just bounce off the wall immediately? Like, nobody's going to ask any questions in an open world game like this.
Yeah, there's a ton of things in this game that really do just slow down the game. I mean, you have mentioned in the past you don't like scanning things.
No.
Focusing, the detective mode, which you have to do a lot in this game.
And, you know, excuse the pun, but the hyper focus on the focus in this one is driving me up the wall. The fact that I have to, like, I don't remember 1,000% how scanning worked for machines in the last game, but it was probably pretty similar to how it is here.
You just turn on the scan. You pressed R1. I think it would put you in that state of where you. All right,
where here it's like you hold the stick for a little bit and you do that. And for scanning machines that works fine, and for like scanning the environment it works fine, but it's just so painfully slow. Like, and I hate scanning the environment. I hate it. It's never fun. It's the Batman detective vision is never fun outside of Batman. You know. Like, it wasn't super fun in The Witcher 3, but Witcher 3 was a lot faster, so like it was more forgivable. Yeah. Here it's just like everything feels so slow because we have to wait on these animations for fucking ever. And I'm also having an issue where like if I'm not standing in the exact right spot, it won't give me the prompt to press triangle. So then I'm like, you know, and I'm just having like these. It's just all these tiny little issues that I was hoping wouldn't be here that are here, and it makes the entire game design feel archaic, especially after games like The Witcher 3 and Breath of the Wild, and even PlayStation Studios' own Ghost of Tsushima, where the flow of I had minor critiques of Ghost of Tsushima, and there were some things in that game that if they're still there in the next game, I'm going to harp on just as hard. Like the climbing and traversal. If the climbing in Ghost of Tsushima 2 still sucks, I'm gonna fucking rail on it because it was so bad in that game. And it was bad, and the climbing wasn't great in Zero Dawn. I liked it better than what we had in Ghost, but like, and it's improved here. This is the best of the three, but it's still not great because it's a lot of, all right, scan, shoot out the thing, everything lights up yellow or red or whatever. Like, you can climb on the yellow bits that are handholds that you couldn't see with the naked eye. And it's just like, you know, this all just feels slow, and Aloy does not climb fast. For as much of like climbing traversal that they're aping from Uncharted, boy, does Nathan Drake run up them walls real quick. Maybe we should do that here, guys.
Also, whenever she two things about the climbing. Whenever she jumps on an object, and certain games do this, and it makes me so upset when they try to make it realistic. because there's no other reason to do this.
Yeah.
Where they like struggle, like, oh, I just jumped on an object from somewhere else.
Okay.
Got to get my balance.
Again, Uncharted does this too, but it works in Uncharted because it's at set points, like where like the piece crumbles away underneath him or something. Here, she just kind of like, she only got it with one hand, so she just kind of like dangles there for a second and then picks herself back up. I'm like,
though I gotta admit, I hate when Uncharted does that too. That's probably my least favorite thing about the Uncharted games. It's traversal.
I think because
roadblocks.
I think because Uncharted is so cinematically driven and it's a linear game, so they can focus on those moments more, and the presentation and the execution on it is of a high fidelity. It doesn't bother me. But when it's like clearly like, hey, this animation doesn't work with our game engine, but we want it to look like Uncharted, so we're gonna do it anyway. That's when it bothers me.
Also, the climbing, you have to scan for the points to grab onto, and they can be very hard to spot because they're just, little. Without the scanning, you can't tell they're there, so you have to use the scanning. And you can turn it on an accessibility feature to just make that always be there, so you don't even have to scan.
Oh my god, I'm turning that on.
Yeah, because the process of scanning where you need to climb is kind of a waste. I honestly way liked the first game's use of that, where even though it was obvious where you needed to climb, good. I don't need to know, find out.
But like there was also like a lot of like in the first game of like, oh, I can jump over this. Oh, I can't jump over it. Okay. I'm not feeling that here. Like if there's something I can jump over, or I feel like I can jump over, more times than not I can jump over it. What are you doing in here, Tavin? Just looking over your weapons? Anyways. Dude, it sounds like we're coming off super negative, but these are just the nitpicks of a game that we want to love.
Admittedly, there are a lot of nitpicks, and they're nitpicks that slow down the pace of the game, which is a big issue. But as far as all the pieces coming together, as we said, the gameplay, the story, which we haven't even touched on yet.
Super quality game.
Very high quality, yes. And improvements to things like the motion of the characters, facial motion specifically, and even mannerisms is a lot more improved, as well as the voice actors.
Presentation as a whole has been increased here. The acting is better here, though I still think often falls flat. I think the choice of having a dialogue wheel hurts a lot. I felt that way in the last game. I've never felt that the dialogue wheel was necessary in these games. And I think it actually hinders Ashley Birch's performance because I feel like she never has a good grip on the character. We're not repeating ourselves, right? I'm trying not to.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
We're not.
Okay, we're just not. We're just letting it flow because we did it. We had this conversation, and then halfway through, we were like, "Fuck, we gotta have it again."
I know you gotta. You know what you said.
I feel like Ashley Birch does not have a strong grasp over the character of Aloy like I've seen her have strong grasps over characters before, and I think the huge amount of RPG level dialogue wheels and all of this stuff is hindering her performance. And I think it's because also Guerrilla doesn't care about performance as much as other game studios like Naughty Dog or like Santa Monica or even the Life is Strange guys, which she is in those games, and I think she delivers a better performance in those games than here. Ghost of Tsushima had more gripping narrative and character development in this game, and that's kind of what's holding me back from like loving it, and to the point to where I don't even know if I'm gonna finish this game because I don't care about these characters. Like, I don't care about this story. I don't. Like, she has her little ensemble of returning characters. I care about one.
Who's that?
Varl.
I like Aaron. I like Varl too, but
Aaron bothers me. Aaron's one of those characters like from the last game that I didn't like his performance in the last game. He is better in this one, but like it's still like he's still like there. Like he's like what's the character Foggy in the Daredevil Netflix show where the actor was like pretty and so like it kind of just killed that whole character for me. So any Foggy centric episodes I was like, I don't care, man. I know I should because it's Daredevil's best friend, but I'd be much more happier if we were just focusing on Daredevil right now. That's how I feel about Aaron. But I do like Varl, and again I'm a little further than you, so like they're doing things with him that we just didn't see a focus on side characters like that in the last game that they're doing in this one, that I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's interesting. These are characters who have lives that form relationships with all kinds of people and stuff. And I'm like, this is really, really, really cool and really interesting, and I really like this.
Which, if we're talking about characters we like, one character I actually have a fondness for, pretty strong fondness for, is Silence.
I do like Silence.
Is an asshole, though.
Oh, he's a dick.
Yeah,
returning
and you
from last
can
game.
feel the frustration Aloy has with dealing with him, because he does things that he doesn't need to do, but because of his nature, he does them.
Oh,
and it just
it's
pisses you
totally
off.
selfish.
Yeah, it's totally selfish.
And meeting with the opposite of that, which is Aloy, who is just this golden child who I can't relate to her because she's just this fucking golden child, always do the right thing type character, and it drives me up the fucking wall. But you're right. When she is met with silence and she gets so frustrated so quickly because she's like, why? Why are you choosing to do this? Because silence often is like, yeah, we're after the same thing. It's just,
I'm better than you.
I'm better than you.
And it's like, okay, then Serbi's like, oh, well, I'm going to lead you on the breadcrumb trail.
Yeah.
For you to find out yourself.
He's like, Aloy, we need to be smarter about this. So we're going to go the long way till you figure out how to be smarter about it. And I'm like, this is great. Their interactions are great, but it's just like when Aloy is talking to random NPCs where I'm like, I tune out and I'm gone. True. I'm out of here. To the point to where, like, I think the dialogue wheel is pretty, like, I keep harping on it, but, like, it's so unnecessary because it's literally just, do you want these characters with bad voice actors to keep talking or not? And more times than not, I'm like, nah, I'm cool. This conversation can end, which is something I never do in video games. I am the exhaust every dialogue option guy. That's me. Like, Mass Effect, on my 7th playthrough, I still ask questions about the politics of the fucking Citadel.
Yeah.
I know them already, but I enjoy getting the lore and the backstory and all that. I don't care here. I don't care.
I'm also the kind of guy that likes to exhaust dialogue, and I still do in this game, but I definitely am like, okay, I use my, I read very fast. I'm a good reader. So I just
it's like you're just reading the information and skipping the line.
Okay, good. I know everything now. So it's yeah, it kind of just is not really. I don't have too big of an issue with the dialogue wheel itself because I don't mind clicking on those extra dialogue options to find out more things, but it definitely isn't very interesting.
No, not at all. And I think the writing is not where it needs to be again in this game, where like, sure, your story is interesting, but your character dialogue is not. So I find myself just tuning out whenever your characters are talking, and then I get lost in the story and I stop caring. You know, and sure, I had this problem in Zero Dawn, but they had their narrative twist in Zero Dawn, which re-engaged me. And the twist they've had here, I think, is quite twisty. It's quite a twisty twist. But is it enough to keep me going? I don't know, because I know how this world works now. Yeah, nothing is new now. Even though this twisty twist, it's a very twisty twist, Connor. Is reinvigorating me a little bit, but how much is that going to do? The dual narrative thing they were doing in the first game carried me all the way to the end. What they are doing here will carry me probably another 5 to 10 hours. And then it is dependent upon the level of quality of writing from there to get me to continue. And, you know, if any new gameplay things open up, which makes this difficult because even though we are 15 hours in and we should be able to talk about this game in a review space, does this game change at hour 20? It is suddenly there's a new breath of fresh air in this. I don't know. I do know that because of the timing of when the last game was released in proximity to Breath of the Wild, this game often gets compared to Breath of the Wild, which I've always felt was unfair. And when in the lead up to this game, it was like, oh, hey, man, I'd love to see what the influence of Breath of the Wild did to the sequel. And it's there with the glider and the climbing, you know, a little bit. Which the glider works fine. It does. The glider is functional.
Get you down from high spots faster.
Let me get on my little milk crate real quick, okay? Let me get on my little stand. You've been able to glide in video games for decades. Decades we've had this technology. Just because Breath of the Wild popularized it to a fucking stupid degree doesn't mean they did it. Assassin's Creed 2 did it. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood did it. Sly Cooper did it. Like, the PS2 generation games did it. Did Shadow of the Colossus do it? No, it didn't. So never mind. No. I retract that part. But Sly Cooper did this 20 years ago.
On this very, very, very niche
Legend of Zelda Wind Waker did it.
Yeah, they did. They had the leaf. That was a fun game.
I've never played it.
I don't know why you have to hold down square to glide? Wouldn't it be just easier to just click it when you're in the air?
Didn't you hold it in Breath of the Wild?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I don't think you did.
It might have been just a click in Breath of the Wild. Oh, I see what you're saying. Why do I have to hold it?
Yeah,
just let me press it and have her pull it out.
Which kind of leads into the whole thing of like it slows down things because
why do I have to hold the button so much?
Yeah,
that's my thing. Is like this sounds like a dumb critique. Like it's a nitpick critique, but it's the fact that it's an open world game. So I have to do this and watch a bar fill up thousands and thousands and thousands of times to the points where it's just like, motherfucker, I already jumped off the cliff.
Yeah.
I'm either going to pull the glider out or I'm going to die. There's no other options here. Like, let me just pull the glider out, god damn it. And I do wish the pull caster, I do wish I could do that to anything. I wish it wasn't set points. I wish I could just climb up. I understand
that'd be hard to do.
That would be hard to do, and they're taking a more cinematic and story-driven focus on this as opposed to a Breath of the Wild.
The grappling mechanic of it, not the pulling objects.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I wish I could just look at a rock and shoot and go to that rock.
Okay. Yes. So I had you right. Okay. Yeah. They should just do it. At the very least, though, they could have done it more. They didn't have to be as sparing as they were.
They have been so far, at least. Yeah. It's just, God, we sound like we're coming off so negative, but that's because, like, what can we say about the combat? It's the same from the first game. It was great in the first game. It's great here. It really is.
Yeah.
It does feel good to hunt these machines, and the new machines are all great and fun to learn. And have you gotten to the fucking... Is it a spoiler? I don't even know if it's a spoiler to give a type.
Just say it. Just go for it.
The fucking... Here, let me put my hands up. When the hand goes down, the spoiler's gone. All right? 3, 2, 1. You had your time. All right. Have you gotten to the kangaroo types?
Yes.
Aren't those fucking cool?
They are really cool.
They're so fucking cool. I love fighting the kangaroos.
We haven't really experienced many machines yet, but if they're on that level of quality, I'll be very satisfied by the end of it.
Oh, dude, and the big ones? Oh, the new big ones are great. I can't wait to fight more snakes.
Yeah.
I know. I'm excited for these moments.
That wasn't even a full strength one. That was...
Yeah, that was one that was hurt. Imagine 3 of those. Because you know they're going to do it.
Uh-huh.
Have you fought a Thunderjaw yet?
No, I have not.
Oh, I tried to.
Oh,
it fucked me up.
Thunderjaws, man. They kick your ass.
Scary. Anyways, back to the thing. But, you know, again, like, I like building out I like building out my arsenal. I like getting the upgrades. I like playing around with the systems here. I think the systems of the gameplay are very good. But then I stand around and talk to NPCs for 20 minutes, and I don't really care about what they have to say. Sometimes. But other times, it's dope. And that's where I think The Witcher 3 inspirations come into the conversation here. The side quests are pretty well built out. Mm-hmm. It's not your usual go collect things or go kill monsters, though those are still there. But there's narrative weight based put on those, much like The Witcher 3 did. Like there's a whole, in the very first town you unlock once you actually get to the open world, there's a whole narrative about this person in charge who maybe shouldn't be in charge. And there are 3 different side quest chains that all eventually come together into one. And I was gripped the entire time. They kept saying, "Hey man, this guy's an asshole." And I was like, "Man, this guy is an asshole. We should do something about it."
Yeah.
You know, and these 3 chains built into one in one really cool way. And I was like, "You know what? That's cool. I'm going to remember that more than I'm going to remember chasing Silence across the Forbidden West because he has a computer, I think." Mm-hmm. You know, like, immediately, like, I'm losing the thread already. Except for that twisty twist. I'm very excited about that twisty twist. Anyways. But yeah. To shed some more positive light here. The game is beautiful. It's a gorgeous game. Lighting, textures. You mentioned the facial animations are much better than they used to be. They got dinged real hard in the last game for that. The voice acting across the board is improved. Not where I would personally like it, but, you know, whatever. Aloy's hair bothers me. It's overly animated. Mm-hmm. And I wish it would relax and calm down. It stopped. Why is it shaking so much? Look at how much it's shaking. And it her whole like fucking thing went over her shoulder there. Why? You know how much effort that takes? She was just walking. It doesn't, you know? Anyways.
Overall, it's hard. The reason it's so much more difficult to splurge about the great things that this game does is because it's so similar to the last one in the positives.
Yeah.
The positives are generally improved, but they're still... I don't feel inflamed with passion about this game as I otherwise might have.
I was ready for a game to take Guerrilla and put it in that S tier echelon. You know, that some of Sony's other studios are there. And this isn't the game to do that. This is still, Guerrilla's still great. Love Guerrilla Games still. They put out a quality product here, and this is something that, like, I'm going to enjoy and continue to love and praise as a great game. But when we're sitting down and talking about this specific game objectively, my mind first reaches to the things that I wish were done better.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't have these complaints when it comes to God of War. I don't have these complaints when it comes to Spider-Man. I don't have these complaints when it comes to anything Naughty Dog has done in the last 6 years. But I have these complaints with this game. And, you know, I had similar complaints to Ghost of Tsushima, but I didn't have as many complaints. And to be fair, with Zero Dawn, I felt the same way as I felt about Ghost, where I was like, this is great. Sure, there's issues, but we'll move past it. And again, I'll say, if Ghost 2 comes out and those issues still persist or they're not as improved as they should be, I'm going to harp on it just as harshly. And maybe it's just the pain of just making an open world game that they just can't be that fluid. But God of War is an open-ass fucking game. And yeah, the climbing in that game sucks. But it's effective and it doesn't take up a whole lot of time. There's a lot of climbing in this game. You
might be getting this. I don't know how much longer this review is going to go on, but you might be getting to the spoiler areas of the game.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah,
avoid that.
Yeah. I guess we'll just refocus. Yeah, we're back at the fucking house. Cool. Thank you for that. This is good catch.
Yeah.
That's a great moment, by the way. This is a fantastic moment. You know, ladies and gentlemen, when you get to that moment, it's fantastic. But yeah, Connor, anything else that we have to say about Horizon Forbidden West here?
I'm struggling. We really touched on all the negatives, which aren't minor, and we touched on what made the game good and why it's kept being good.
Well, let's talk about we haven't really talked about the side activities. And granted, I haven't done a whole lot of them, but the ones I have done, I've enjoyed a lot. There's the one that we just looked at earlier, where you're putting you're finding the image, you're given a picture, and you have to find that picture in the environment. I think that's a really cool environmental puzzle thing. There's a lot of other smaller side stuff that I think are fun and engaging and build out your sort of like what you can craft and so forth even more. Let me pull up the Strike. Have you played any Strike?
Oh yes, completely forgot about that. I enjoyed that mini game a lot.
So Strike is sort of like it's Horizon trying to find their version of Gwent. Is what it is, and they've done it by doing sort of like, it's almost like how would you describe this game? Like
weird chess.
It's like a chess checkerboard thing. I'm sure there are tabletop games that this is just directly aping, but like I just can't think of it right now. And it's like you're like collecting pieces, and these pieces have different move sets, and they can move so many squares, and they can attack from so far away, and
they're machines in the world. They're based off.
I enjoy this a lot.
I've gotten to the point where when I find one, I only found one other player past the tutorial one that you meet in one of the first areas. But I plan to play every single person all the way, every single time I find them, because they're fun.
I'm enjoying it a lot myself. And sort of like you spend these early parts like
setting up your board.
You pick the pieces that you're bringing into quote unquote battle with, and you set up your board, and you kind of strategize from there. It's kind of difficult sometimes.
Yeah,
like I've lost several times, which as much as I loved Gwent, I can count on one hand the number of times I lost in Gwent. You know? But this, it's like, you have to earn your stripes in this game.
You use strategy is involved.
Yeah, but it's like at the same part, like it's almost hard to predict what's going to happen, because you're sitting there, you're like, there's so much freedom in movement in this game, and the battle arena is so small to where like sometimes it's like, oh, I think this is a smart move, and then the enemy player does their move, and I go, oh shit, this is not a good move. I made a mistake.
I know. The computers are done very well. They become very good.
It's the correct, the AI and the difficulty. AI. I think it might be like a touch more difficult than I would like it to be, just a touch though. But like it's satisfying when I win. I feel smart when I win.
Yeah, a cool aspect of the game, which is obviously like one of the core parts of it, is it's terrain based. So your units will do different kinds of effects, sometimes negative ones, but I think only positive ones from what I've found so far. From being on certain types of terrain, and they make a note in the tutorialization that some terrains affect different types differently. I think flying types in swamp terrains. I haven't got a flying type, and I haven't seen a swamp terrain. But I think they mentioned flying in swamps. They don't go well together. Okay. Yeah.
But it's all like it's +1 -1 type stuff. Where like if you're on a high ground, you're gonna have +1 damage, or if you have a type that excels on a specific piece of high ground, put that on them and it's +2 damage or something like that.
And then also machines have strong points that are armored, and hitting them, you're not gonna get any extra damage. And then you have weak points, which if you hit those, then you're gonna do more damage.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's good. I like it, and I like building out my my deck, and I like building out like all I've got, and you can like you're moving pieces around and stuff, and you're just whipping out. It feels good. I like it.
The board's done very well because like the computers that you face individually have their own board that you play on, so it's not like the building part of that doesn't get in the way. So you're just focusing on the pieces and what they do and adapting to this player's board, and you get a reward if you win. So it's a very good minigame.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm going to continue playing it as I discover new boards and places in the open world. Man, I wish there was a way we could come off more positive, because I really do actually like this game. It's I don't think it's knocked Sifu off my game of the year so far, but it's in that conversation. Yeah. Like it's gonna be high on my list by the end of the year. It just will be. Unless just a bunch of games that I don't know about come out and like blow my hair back.
Hey, end of the year can come with anything.
We'll see. Connor, do you have anything else that you've wanted to mention while we're talking about Horizon Forbidden West here?
Not really. I'll play it and I'll enjoy the rest of it.
Yeah. Again, the fidelity of the game in its combat is like, I can't sing its praises enough. It still feels great. It's exactly what you had from Zero Dawn, but just expanded upon a little more. The upgrade trees are great. I like the crafting. I do like the craft. I feel good when I'm putting in my upgrades and gathering my resources and putting them into my armors.
There's payoff.
Applying the bonus. What do they call them? Weaves.
Coils? Oh,
the weaves or the
coils for the weapons.
Coils? Is that what? Okay. Yeah, the coils for the weapons and for the armors. I like putting on those.
Weaves for the armor.
Do you also just shoot everything in sight? Like anytime you see just wildlife, do you also just immediately zero in on it?
Until I'm for certain that I don't really need, at that time at least, any material from boars, I'm just like, okay, I won't do it anymore. Squirrels, raccoons, I'm like,
yeah, see, for me, foxes, I'm like, I don't know if I need to shoot any more foxes.
You hear less little screeching noises, so that's good that I don't have to shoot them anymore.
I remember being on stream, and I was just running around, and I was just talking, and then there was a fox like right in front of me, and I just very quickly drew back my bow and just fucking popped it right in the head. And somebody who had just hopped into the chat was like, "Oh my god, why?" Dude. And I was like, "No, you don't understand. You need it for supplies."
Yeah, feel brutal doing it, but it
feels nasty, but it's great. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is sort of our review in progress, or review, 20 hours in to Horizon Forbidden West. We are enjoying it. We do like it a lot. It is a really, really good game. There's just a lot holding it back from being the game we want it to be. Remember, you can find, and absolutely worth your $60, $70. I don't know how much this game is worth. $70 purchase. Absolutely. Like, people should play this game. Yes? No?
Yeah, I think people should play this game.
Yeah.
The $70 price hike, I've never been a fan of it. So, like, if you're, like, angry about that and you're like, go buy your $60 PS4 version then, which apparently the PS4 version is running very well. We both played on PS5s. Yeah.
And it's fantastic. 60 FPS. So good. So good. I can't imagine trying to play this game in 30. Oh my god, the pain. The pain. I can't even. Ugh. I don't even want to talk about it. But no, Horizon Forbidden West, solid like 1.5 thumbs up. Yeah. Not to put ratings, because we don't do ratings here. But, it was a good time. It's a good time. Enjoying it a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for your 2 Penny Gamescast review of Horizon Forbidden West. Remember, you can watch us play games live over at twitch.tv/2pennygames and catch the podcast, see what else we've been playing and all that over at youtube.com/2pennygamescast or mainstream podcast services of your choice every Monday at 8 a.m. Central Time. Next week, keep an eye out. We will be reviewing Elden Ring. It'll be probably pretty similar, where I imagine you'll be further than I will be.
Yeah, I'm playing it tonight.
Yeah. I'm going to load it up when I have time tonight, but I got to do some work. But yeah, we'll see how we feel about Elden Ring. I'm only a few hours in, but we'll see. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it. Keep an eye out for that. And until next time, have a great time. And Connor, say goodbye to the people.
Goodbye.